Well, hello everybody and welcome to Lunch Break Live, real talk about obesity, food addiction, recovery, and what's really eating you. I am Carrie Dela Cruz here on a Friday afternoon my time, and that makes it early Saturday morning New Zealand time. Once again, I am sliding in under the wire because the day job threatens to get in the way. Not sure if you guys are here yet. I'm taking a look. I know I see. Hey, my mom made it. I didn't think you were going to make it, Mom. I'm so glad that you are here. Hopefully more and more people will fill in and join me. Today was a really interesting day. I really was not sure what I was going to talk about. I kept thinking, wow, what do I want to say to everybody? What am I thinking about? I had a lot of things, but nothing that I felt really strongly about talking about. And then I remembered that I'm going to say Melissa had asked me a couple of weeks ago to talk about, I see those hearts flying by. Thank you guys. There's Melissa. See? That you had asked me, Melissa, to talk about relationships and how they change, specifically after weight loss surgery, after WLS. And I realized that whether you have weight loss surgery to lose a lot of weight, or whether you do it with a medically supervised program, or you do it through, Weight Watchers or any other structured program, or you modify your behaviors drastically, whatever it is, whatever method you go about doing it. When we're talking about massive weight loss from morbid obesity, I think that there is a tremendous impact on our relationships, all of our relationships. And I remember when I first began losing weight and I first had surgery, a lot of people in support group meetings would say, I don't understand why people treat me so differently now. I haven't changed. Well, yeah, you have. You've changed in a lot of ways that you probably didn't even consider, not the least of which is how you look. And, a lot of people would talk about the ways in which people would interact with them. Let's say, I would hear this a lot. Oh, all of a sudden, people are talking to me in the office. They never talked to me before, before I lost weight, they didn't have the time of day for me, right? Or people open, men hold the door open for me now, or they talk to me. They never did that before. What's the problem here? And, people would get kind of angry about the new attention that they were getting. And I have often said that, look, it's a two-way street. It is not just that all of a sudden, because you look different, people necessarily are being drawn to you, magnetically, because I think that it's that two-way street. We are drawing people into us as well, whether we're aware of it or not, because a lot of us have blockers up when we don't feel good about ourselves. Stay away, stay away, stay away. And so if that goes down momentarily, that wall where people can access us, then maybe they're going to engage with us in ways that they never did before. And it's not necessarily connected directly to our weight loss, okay? It can be, absolutely, because our society, is drawn to what we perceive to be attractive people. What makes us more attractive? It's not just how we look, it's who we are and how we behave as people. So I would say that, of course, relationships do change because we necessarily change as we lose weight. But guess what? The relationships also change as we regain weight, right? As our relationship with ourself changes. And so today, what I'm going to do my best to sort of address is 3 primary relationships that we have that we may not even consider that are very, very important. We have the relationship with ourselves, the relationship with food, and the relationship with others. And by others, that's everybody. That's people in your house with you, your family. That's your family who doesn't live in the house with you. That's your coworkers. That's strangers on the street, friends. Everything is going to change. So others is a pretty broad umbrella of people. So those relationships do change. All right. So I've made a few notes as usual. Here are some things I would like you to consider. if you've ever lost weight in the past and you're not in the process right now, like maybe you're preparing for weight loss surgery and you're joining me, and thank you very much for being here. But let's say, you're still preparing for weight loss and you haven't begun to lose any weight yet or whatever. Or let's say that you have lost weight and you've regained it, or at various times in your life you've lost weight, whatever it is, whatever stage of your journey you're in, I would like you to consider this, all right? Ask yourself, how do you see yourself? All right, that's probably number one. How do I see myself? How do I see myself when I lose weight? How do I see myself if I'm regaining weight? How do I see myself if I haven't made it to goal yet? All right. How do I see food? How do we see food? Do you see food differently when you are on a diet? Do you see food differently when you're losing weight? Do you see food differently when you're gaining weight? So there's that relationship with yourself, that relationship with food. All right. How do you see others? Right? Do you see others in a different way as you lose weight, as you gain weight? How do others see us? Do they see us differently when we lose weight, when we gain weight, when we haven't made it to goal? Do we think others see us in a different light if we haven't made it to goal or whatever? All right. How do others see or perceive our relationship with food? That's kind of interesting, isn't it? Does it change? Do they perceive that our relationship with food has changed? Don't worry, I'm going to talk about this a little bit. And finally, does our relationship with ourselves and others affect our relationship with food? There is a lot of crazy stuff going on here, don't you think? There's a lot of relationship stuff that we may not have ever considered. All right, here's what I would like you to consider as you considered all of the dynamics and the different relationships that you have. I'm going to say that there are some values, some core principles that are associated with a relationship. And the healthier these things are, the healthier the relationship will be. So we've got trust, honesty, comfort, reliability, and accountability. There are many more values, but those are kind of the ones that came up when I was considering, what do I look for in a healthy relationship? What do I look for in the relationship with my husband? Trust, honesty, comfort, of course, reliability and accountability. So those are chief things that I look for in my relationship with my husband, with my friends, in my workplace, with my daughter, right? And it's, again, two-way street. So are those things important in my relationship with myself? The questions that come up are, do I trust myself? Am I honest with myself? Am I comfortable with myself? Am I accountable to myself? And can I rely on myself? Am I reliable to myself? Maybe you didn't consider that because maybe you were so busy projecting or looking outward that you weren't even considering the role you're playing in every relationship that you have, absolutely everywhere. And yes, even with food. Do you trust yourself around food? Are you honest with yourself about food? Are you seeking comfort in food? Are you accountable to the food that you are choosing to eat? How reliable are you around certain foods? See what I'm saying? So again, very interesting relationship that we have. And psychologists will tell you that our primary relationship when we are dealing with the disease of obesity, our primary relationship is with food, baby. That is the relationship that we are most concerned with, and that gets in the way of all of our relationships with ourselves and others. That is the chief relationship that we feed. And when we have an unhealthy relationship with food, that eats us up, doesn't it? It absolutely eats us up. So we've got all of these relationships that all work together. They all overlap, our relationship with food, and we talk about with our moms, right? And when we go to their house, we go to mom's house and she wants to feed us. So we have this overlay of the relationship that we have with food that we also have with our mom, the relationships our moms have with us and with food. Same with our friends. We have relationships with our friends that revolve around food, and our family and strangers. And look at me in the workplace here. They just carted the food by for everybody to eat, right? So people have a relationship because they naturally get together around food. And often the guard goes down around food because they're just busy eating and chatting and saying things that they might not ordinarily say if the food weren't in their face and they weren't focusing on the food. So again, interesting dynamics at play here, coming all different directions, going outward, coming inward, right? Okay. So the next thing I want you to consider as you're talking about your weight loss journey, all right, as you're losing weight, the question is, do you like who you are? Do you like the person you are? Do you like the person you were? Do you like the person you're becoming? Maybe if you don't, then it's going to have a negative effect on relationships with others, and certainly your relationship with food. Because if you don't like yourself, how well do you think you're going to treat yourself? If you don't like yourself, how well do you think you're going to treat others? Okay, so very, very important. Are you finding things out about yourself as you begin to work on your relationship with food and others that maybe you don't like, that you used to eat over or still want to eat over because you don't like the things that are becoming more, that you're more aware of? As you're no longer stuffing them down with the food, these things are rising to the surface and you're like, whoa, I don't like these things about myself. No wonder I ate. Well, if there's one thing I hope you're learning, it's that eating doesn't make it better. Doesn't help your relationship with food. It doesn't help your relationship with others, and it certainly does not help your relationship with yourself. I think that when we're talking about the things that change within us, there are a lot of different, again, dynamics. I'm going to use that word a lot, I believe, at work here, okay? Maybe we're becoming more confident and self-assured, where before we were needier. We didn't have, we were insecure. We didn't feel secure. We were fearful. Maybe we're a little more confident. Maybe we are a little more self-assured, independent, where the people in our lives don't really understand what role they play. If they were the one that was always there for us, that we were relying upon, and all of a sudden we're not relying upon them, we've taken their job away, right? And they feel what? Maybe they don't feel needed anymore. How do we feel when someone doesn't need us anymore? When our kids say, I got this, I don't need you. I'm okay, I can handle it, I've got it, right? Mom says, my baby doesn't need me anymore, right? What do? We don't know who we are if we are not a mother who is needed by a child. We have to change our relationship with our now maturing, growing adult child who becomes an adult, not a child. And so our relationship with our, what is the word I'm looking for? With our offspring becomes one of a relationship between adults, mother-daughter instead of mother-child. Okay, so that necessarily changes. But what happens if the only basis for our relationship was the need to be needed? And all of a sudden our job is removed. How do we feel? What about if we don't need others? How do they feel? Do you see what's happening and changing here? Sometimes we become less open, where all of a sudden we say, I don't have to curry favor and work so hard for people to like me anymore. I can be a little more reserved. Maybe we become more open, where we say, you know what, where before I used to close myself off and I was less open, now I can be more open and put myself out there. Where before I had to be the life of the party, now I realize I don't have to be the life of the party anymore. I don't have to focus on whether people like me or not. Do I like me? I can look at those things now. Maybe we become stronger because we're more capable now. Not only do we have more energy and we are literally physically stronger, maybe we're emotionally stronger too. We're mentally stronger because now, instead of all of this distorted thinking and this constant fixation and focus on food, we are now stepping back and able to consider other things. So we become mentally stronger, emotionally stronger as we become more capable, and even physically stronger. And I guarantee you that's going to change the relationship that you have with yourself and with others. And guess what? We begin to realize that the foods we eat do have an effect on us. And when we eat crap, we feel like crap. And so that is going to change a relationship that we're having with food, because we realize that when we eat certain foods, we don't feel good about ourselves. We don't feel physically good, right? We feel like crap. Like, you want to brush your tongue, you want to scrape the roof of your mouth because of all the fat and the sugar and the crap that you had not been eating, and now all of a sudden it's back in and you feel like garbage, right? So that relationship with food is necessarily going to change, right? All right. Let's talk about the behaviors. So we talked about the feelings that we have about ourselves that change, the feelings that we have about others. Maybe as we begin to feel better about ourselves, we realize that the people in our life, the people that we were surrounding ourselves by, weren't necessarily healthy. Maybe we were surrounding ourselves by them because we felt that was all we deserved. We've heard that story a lot, right? Oh, that was all I could get, so I was with that guy, but now I realize I'm better than that. That happens. Once we feel better about ourselves, we realize we can do better. And guess what? Boy, there are a lot of victims, in our lives that can fall by the wayside by our becoming stronger or healthier people. That can happen, all right? Sometimes also, we can become very unhealthy. We can start to become very selfish, very conceited, very full of ourselves, very focused on ourselves. It's one big selfie, and the people in our lives say, there's no room for me here because it's all about you, yourself, and you. There's no room for me here. And so we can lose healthy relationships as well because we don't necessarily become healthier emotionally and mentally just because our bodies become physically healthier. And let's not even talk about how once our bodies become healthier, we can go ahead and make them unhealthy again by drinking. And you'll hear me talk about it a lot, not from a moralistic standpoint where I'm judging you, but I'm saying that's poison, that's toxins that you're pouring in. And if you've had weight loss surgery, no wonder you get drunk faster, because your body ain't processing it the same way anymore. It's going right to your liver, baby, and you feel like garbage. And you're a cheap drunk. So there's that stuff too. So even as we get healthier, we can work really hard at becoming less healthy. See? All right. Let's talk about the behaviors that change. Maybe now as you get healthier, and I'm talking about that alcohol, maybe you don't drink with friends anymore. You don't do wine night with the girls once a month. You don't meet at the bar where you used to, right? Every Thursday night you'd hang out at the bar. Maybe you don't anymore. So that changes. That's going to change the dynamic with your friends, isn't it? Maybe you don't meet at a restaurant all the time anymore. It used to be the meeting place was at a restaurant, and now you're like, no, why don't we meet at the park or the beach or something? Right? It's a little different. So your behaviors change. What if your friends aren't into this health thing like you are? Right? What if they don't want to go to Zumba with you? So that's necessarily going to change your relationships. Maybe you don't make dinner for the family anymore because you're like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to take care of me. You guys take care of you. Maybe you've changed your cooking style where they were used to you cooking crap and now you're cooking healthy food. And they're like, whoa, what happened here? You changed, so now we have to change? What's up with that? Maybe you don't buy junk food anymore. No, there'll be none of that in the house. Well, that's a radical change for everybody in the house because they're like, excuse me, I didn't sign up for this. I still want junk food. But you changed, right? Let's see. You dress differently. Maybe you found a style and you're like, wow, now that I can fit clothes differently, I want to wear different clothes and I'm putting more energy into how I look. Well, that can be really weird for someone who's not used to you wearing makeup or doing your hair or dressing stylishly. That's really, that can be like scary because they're like, well, wait a minute. What do you think? You're better than me and you don't look like me anymore and I can't hang out with you because I just wear yoga pants everywhere and you don't. That has an effect, all right? We walk faster. This is really funny. In my family, I used to be the one in the back, right? Drawn up the rear. Everybody had to wait for me. Now I'm way in the front waiting for everybody going, man, you people walk slow. Okay, that necessarily changes the dynamic. And now all of a sudden what? They feel like they have to keep up with you? It's kind of awkward if they don't feel like they want to. Maybe they want to stroll and you want to power walk, right? Very different. Maybe you're more outgoing. You have more energy. Wow, you're like, Carrie, how could you have more energy? Yeah, I've always had a lot of energy, but can you imagine me with even more than this? It's a very scary place to live, but I have it. You have different interests now. You know, the things that maybe Zumba, like I'm talking about, or going to Sky Zone, the indoor trampoline place, or going roller skating or bowling, or things, active things that you never did before, kayaking, you know, wall climbing, whatever, bicycling, you never did that before. And now all of a sudden, so these are different interests. What if the people that you hung out with before were sedentary and just wanted to sit and watch movies, and now you want to go out and be active? That's kind of weird. Maybe you're not a homebody anymore. Let's go, man. I'm tired of being home. I've been home for 20 years. Let's go, go, go. And the people are like, no, no, no. I don't want to go. Nothing changed about me. That's all on you. So they see less of you. And when you spend less time together, that's going to have an effect on your relationship, isn't it? Maybe you fight for things now. Stand up for yourself. Never fought for things before because you were a pushover. You would just give in. What if you fight for things now? That would be really hard to live with someone who used to give in all the time. All of a sudden, they're now, what? Fighting you. Well, they may not like that, huh? They may not like you standing up for yourself. And of course, as we're learning to stand up for ourselves, that pendulum can overswing, and sometimes we can be very offensive. All right? We have opinions that we're willing to express now that maybe we were not confident in expressing before. We can become very critical of others. Oh, yeah. I'm better. I've lost weight. I'm this great person. Look at you. Now I'm going to start picking out your flaws. I'm going to start picking on you. You should lose weight too. You should walk more. You should exercise more. You shouldn't eat that. We become very critical, and that is definitely going to have an effect on our relationships. Hey, friend, best friend, you should lose weight now because I did. Ooh, you didn't like it when they said it to you. Why do you think they'd like it when you say it to them? Well, it's just because I care about you. They care about you too. Lots of people cared about you, but when they told you that you needed to lose weight for your own good and your health, how did that make you feel? So get off the self-righteous, healthy soapbox and say, I'm only doing it for your own good. Be careful. Be really careful, all right? We can overcompensate for things because we're making up for lost time. Maybe we're all or nothing now. You know, I have to exercise every single day of the week now, and too bad, so sad, there's no room for you in my life anymore. I've got to do everything exactly right, and there's just no gray area, and you lived in the gray area, so sorry, see ya, bye. Maybe we're more involved with our kids now than we were before, and that can kind of freak your kids out. They're like, whoa, I liked you better when you were like not so involved, Mom. And now you're all up in my business, and you're on like president of the PTA, or the PTO, I think they call it now. And it's like, you know what? I don't need you hanging around my friends so much. It's like, back off, okay? I get it. You feel real good about yourself. Did you really have to pose in that picture with the chauffeur, the limo driver for Winter Formal, Mom? Did you really have to do that? Yes, I did that. Okay, that can be a little bit disconcerting for our teens, our kids who aren't used to our being involved in their lives, and they may not be as receptive to it because it happened overnight, okay? We spend more time at the gym. Our emphasis shifts. The things that used to be important to us maybe aren't so important to us anymore. We used to spend a lot of time baking on weekends, and now we don't anymore. And now our kids are like, excuse me, I kind of miss the chocolate chip cookies, Mom. When are those coming back? Our emphasis shifts, all right? Maybe we become more serious. Hey, I don't know about you, but I was always the jokester because I figured if I pick on myself first, you can't pick on me. If I'm funny, you'll like me more and you won't worry about my being fat because I'm so funny. Maybe you're more serious because you realize I don't have to be the clown anymore. That happens too, you know? And then we become more selfish. Ideally, we become healthy selfish. But that pendulum can overswing and we can become very unhealthy selfish. So those are some of my thoughts that I put together. Wow, went long again. On relationships and how they change. And I am going to take a glance at what you guys are talking about because I'm just keen to see if this is relevant to you, if this is making any sense, and if you're recognizing these things in your own lives. And ideally, I'm hoping as you go away over the weekend here and you think about, the shows up to this point, and particularly today, you look at the relationships that you have with yourself, with food, and with others. Look at them, look at those foundational values or principles, the honesty, the comfort, truth, accountability, reliability, those things, and look at the role that they play, how significant they are. Are they in a healthy, good place, a stable place, or do you need to do some work there? Look at the relationships with others, all right, including strangers, all right? So I would encourage you guys to do that and evaluate it, all right? So now I'm going to take a quick look before I let y'all go and see what you've been talking about. Busy, busy, busy. Wow, you guys have been really chatting up a storm. Love it. So glad you guys are here. I'm seeing a few faces I haven't seen in a while. Really happy to see you guys back. And Mom, I am really, really glad that you're here. And let's see here as we scroll through. Lots of hey, hey, heys. Hey, hey, heys. Right back. All righty. Oh, Mom said much better when thin, but I don't know what you were talking about. So I'm going to have to go back and comment on that when I watch these in real time and see what you guys were talking about. All righty. Lots of highs. You guys are highing each other because you're friends now. And I love that we have created a nice, safe, trusting, fun environment where we're supportive and encouraging of others. I love that. Don't trust myself around food. That is really, really critical. We have a history of not having a healthy relationship with food and not trusting ourselves around food because why? We say we're not going to overeat and we do every single time. So we can't trust ourselves. We lie to ourselves and believe our own lies. And so I think a really big part of this process is why I always say, I'm on to me now. All right. I'm on to me, and I have to be the adult, and I have to grow up and say, do I trust me or not? If I do trust me, what would a trustworthy person do? Would a trustworthy person not do what she says she's going to do? So if I say I'm not going to do something and then I go do it, is that trustworthy? No. So if I really want to trust myself, I have to do things that are trustworthy. And that takes work. It's a process, all right? Let's see here. I see food definitely when I'm on a lifestyle change than when I'm not. So you say that you focus more on food when you're being healthier than when you're not making healthy choices, because in other words, it's kind of like you're blinded to it and you just kind of blindly reach for and not focus on and just mindlessly eat. Maybe that's what you're talking about there. Hi, Nina. I'm glad that you're here. All right. Let's see here. I think I don't like myself or what I'm becoming. The good news is, Marcus, if you don't like yourself, you have the power to work on that and become the person that you want to be. Work on the things about yourself that you don't like. There's nothing permanent about this. Nobody says you have to be that person. You can change. You have the power to change just as readily as you have the power to change your eating, right? What you've done to lose weight, you have the power to change the person that you are. Decide who you want to be. And if it's starting by saying who you don't want to be, that's a great place to start too. I know I don't want to be that. So what do I want to be? Sky's the limit. All right. Let's see. So much I get resentment when someone else likes me because don't you know I'm a likable person. Okay, I'm going to have to. Yeah, I like me. I like me so much that I get resentment when someone else likes me. Oh, you don't want to share you? Is that what that means? It's like you're not good enough to like me? Ooh. Well, you know what? This is where humility comes into the whole recovery equation. Humility, not humiliation, but that being humble, not letting that pride, that ego get in the way of our relationships with ourselves and with others. Because I guarantee you, we feed the ego. Guess what we feed our ego in addition to unhealthy emotional stuff? We feed our ego food. That's where a lot of us go with that. It's just to try and feel better about our bruised, wounded egos, don't we? All right, let's see. I wish I was still happy-go-lucky. Well, you know what, Marcus? I think that the pendulum does overswing sometimes. And I think a really important part of that happy-go-lucky that you might want to examine for yourself is, was that real or was that false cheerfulness? Were you covering up for something? Were you, hoping that people wouldn't see the reality of who you were by being the class clown and just saying, la, 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 it doesn't matter, life is great, but you weren't being real. You weren't being a realist. That's possible too. And I think there's a balance. I think the pendulum can overswing, and I think this is serious business. And I sometimes think we do lose our sense of humor, because recovery can be really serious business. It's hard work, and it takes focus and concentration. And sometimes this stuff is real and it's not funny. So I do understand losing that happy-go-lucky, but let's look at what was that all about anyway? Was it genuine? Were you genuinely happy, or was that artificial false cheerfulness? And look for reasons to be joyful. Look for reasons to be happy, starting with a smile on your face. I often say it's very, very hard to not be happy when you are smiling, okay? And when you work out and you smile, it makes it better. I'm just saying. All right. Alrighty, there's so much more going on here, and it is just already at the half an hour mark. So I am going to let you guys go, and I will come back and address your comments. And as ever, I'm going to thank you so much for being here, invite you to share this with other people who could benefit from it, okay? Because this is real stuff, you guys. This is real stuff, and we can't do it alone. It takes somebody else sometimes to say to us, look, you're not crazy, all right? This stuff is real, and here I can share with you how it impacted me. I can share with you how I dealt with it. I can tell you the areas where I really fell down and really messed up, and I can tell you the areas that I was not expecting. We could talk about that stuff so that we can all become healthier people in this community of recovering, supportive, wonderful people. That's what we want to be, right? We just want to be our best selves. So I'm going to let you guys go because it's already far too late. And you know what? There's a quiche waiting for me in the kitchen. So I'm going to sign off by reminding you guys to have courage, seek peace, embrace joy, and above all, live your recovery. Remember, you can't stop feeding what's eating you if you don't know what's eating you. I will see you guys next week. Take care. Bye.